Another hot and hazy day here across the Front Range. Then you head into the mountains, and we're still dealing with those significant flash flood concerns. Those will last at least until tomorrow, but we do have some changes in store for the forecast. Most of those should lead to some good news. I'm meteorologist Chris Bianchi here in the 9 News Weather Center with a detailed look at your forecast. Now, Denver, the story for us right now, it is exceptionally hazy. And in fact, the air quality right now in Denver, we're at about a 120 AQI. What that means is we're about 4 times above what the World Health Organization exposure recommendation. So we are way up there. In fact, I was just taking a look at some of these statistics. Denver right now, based on major cities, has the worst air quality of the entire Western Hemisphere and the 6th worst air quality in the world. That is according to a leading air quality tracking website that I was just taking a look at. So again, to kind of emphasize, yes, we're talking about bad air quality. I feel like we've been a broken record saying this literally all summer long. It is exceptionally bad today. And the reason why it's a little worse today than it has been, 2 things. One, we've got a strong lid in the atmosphere. Basically, that's trapping in the ozone and the pollutants. Then, in addition to that, you're getting a bit more wildfire smoke than what we've seen over the last few weeks. Now, over the last 2 weeks, we were primarily looking at a lot of ozone, ground ozone, and that's obviously not good. That's not good news. But now we're getting the air, we're getting some of that wildfire smoke mixing into the air as well. So we're getting kind of a two-headed monster here at this point. So that's why the air quality right now is exceptionally bad. Now, you get into the mountains, you have less air quality concerns, you have more flood concerns. So really the entire state is dealing with a significant issue. In eastern Colorado, it's the air quality. In the mountains, once again, it is the flash flooding, and we're going to see once again some more of those significant concerns as we head over the next couple of hours. In fact, already seeing some of those showers and storms popping on up into western Colorado. That would be around the Maroon Bells, around Aspen on south in the San Juans, through Gunnison County, and through Crested Butte, Gunnison, and on south into Telluride and San Miguel County. Now, showers and storms will continue to slowly pivot their way off to the east later on today. Denver, the Front Range, probably stay dry. The foothills will have some storms around, but you head I-25 on east will probably stay dry. Maybe 1 or 2 storms around, but most of us will stay dry along the urban corridor. It's the mountains, once again, with the highest flash flood concern, and in particular, right around that I-70 corridor. So from Glenwood Springs, of course, at this point, you probably know that I-70 is closed indefinitely at Glenwood Canyon due to more mudslides. In fact, over at 9news.com, Governor Jared Polis is giving an update on the Glenwood Springs closure of I-70. So, again, you can check that out as well. But in terms of the weather forecast, unfortunately, we're still looking at some more heavy rain. By the way, look at that around Colorado Springs early tomorrow morning. Still looking at some showers and storms around for us in El Paso County on north through the Palmer Divide and into Denver. So, folks, it's going to stay very, very stormy in the mountains. And something I've been saying to my, in fact, I'll say this anecdotally. I've had this conversation with a few folks here in the newsroom, just saying, don't go into the mountains here, folks. I mean, really, just avoid it at all means possible. Hikes will be muddy. Camping, again, there's just not any real zones right now where you can really go around and do the things you'd normally be able to do in the mountains just because it's been so darn wet for such a long time at this point. Meantime, current temperatures in Denver at 82. You get in the mountains where it's obviously a little bit cloudier, and we've got some more showers around Leadville at just 61. That sounds kind of nice. Eagle at 73. And I'll stay on the cool side through the mountains today just because of all the cloud cover around. Meantime, again, eastern Colorado, we're on the warmer side. That is thanks to some of that sunshine. And unfortunately, again, we kind of wish it would be a little bit on the cooler side like what we had this weekend. At least I'm sure plenty of you out there feel the same way. I certainly feel that way. Now, tonight, temperatures drop back in the low to mid 60s. It'll be partly cloudy, but again, the haze will be around. So limit that time outdoors here, folks. Tomorrow, same idea. I think Denver in the urban corridor tomorrow looks like the best chance for a storm in around the urban corridor for the rest of the week. We'll kind of pivot some of those showers and storms slightly to the east for tomorrow. So again, Denver, Boulder, Colorado Springs, our best chance for a storm will likely be tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow night. So you see some of those shower storms, and again, notice maybe a bit more of an eastward budge with some of those shower storms. So if you've got those happy hour plans, some of those outdoor plans for tomorrow or for this week, and you can move them around, I would probably have them for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Tomorrow looks like it has the best chance for a storm all week. Now, the good news of all this, I feel like I've been saying a whole bunch of bad news, so I got to mix it up a little bit here. The good news is we are getting the rainfall in a part of the state that really does need it, and we've put a pretty good dent into the drought here, folks. There's no doubt about that into southwestern Colorado in particular. We've just had an exceptional monsoon season to date. Hey, this is good news. The problem is we're just getting too much of a good thing basically all at once. We're getting all this rainfall here over the last month, maybe 6 weeks or so, right? It's just been such a crazy monsoon season to date. The problem is we're just getting all this moisture at once, and the ground here in Colorado, this is just not a wet state. We're not Florida. We're not the Gulf Coast. We just can't take all that moisture all at once like what we're getting right now. So what happens is when you get all that rain, it just runs off. And that's part of the concern. Meantime, tomorrow, probably a little cooler in Denver because of the cloud cover and that heightened chance for a shower or storm. Wow, look how chilly it stays. It is straight up sweatshirt weather, early fall weather, or feeling that way at least for us in Winter Park and Leadville with highs just in the low 60s. And many of us staying in the 60s as well. Now, looking at the weekend ahead, I know a lot of us, it's Monday, so right, we're starting to look ahead to the weekend. So if you're planning ahead, it does look a lot better this weekend, this upcoming weekend, than what we saw last weekend. Last weekend, I said this all last week, so just don't go into the mountains, just don't go camping, unless you like mud and hanging out in a tent and not doing anything all day. Last weekend was the weekend for that. This upcoming weekend, we'll have some storms around, but it's going to be more of our typical Colorado hit or miss storms, so a bit more typical of a weather pattern rather than, again, the very unpleasant weather that we dealt with much of last weekend. 7-day forecast, we do gradually warm things up, especially later this week once we dry things on out. So the change in the forecast starts kind of later Wednesday. We'll see a ridge of high pressure start to build in. That should bring in much drier weather. And more, again, we're talking more typical shower and storm chances. Yes, there will be some around this weekend. Yes, there will be some early next week, and even by Friday as well. It's just going to be more of those typical hit or miss showers or storms. If you've been in Colorado for any length of time, you know about those at this point. So that's a look at the overall forecast. The haze in eastern Colorado is the big story out there. The mountains, it is all that water, it's all those flash flood concerns that continue to be the big story up that way. So stay safe here, folks. Limit that time outdoors and around the urban corridor. Tomorrow, some storms around. Hopefully we get one or two that'll clear up the air a little bit. And then later on this week, it'll be on the dry side, and we should stay storm-free and around the urban corridor with one or two around in the mountains. Thanks for joining us here for 9 News Watch Weather. I'm Meteorologist Chris Bianchi here in the 9 News Weather Center.